We are in the month of April. We're in a series called ASAP. We've been talking about the people from Luke chapter 7, how they wanted to see Jesus ASAP, as soon as possible. But today, as we celebrate Easter Sunday, we're gonna go to a different chapter of Luke, which is chapter 24, and we're gonna see other people who were willing to meet Jesus ASAP. So we'll go to today's passage, which is Luke chapter 24, verse 36 to 43. I'll read the passage for you. Here we go. While they were still talking about this, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, "Peace be with you." They were startled and frightened, thinking they saw a ghost. He said to them, "Why are you troubled? And why do doubts rise in your minds? Look at my hands and my feet. It is I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see I have." When he had said this, he showed them his hands and feet. And while they still did not believe it because of joy and amazement, he asked them, "Do you have anything here to eat?" They gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate it in their presence. I'm a pastor, and I've been a pastor for almost 2 decades now, and I've been to a lot of weddings. I'm pretty sure you go to many weddings in your life too, but I've been to many weddings. I've married many couples. I've been part of the wedding as a person who prays for the couple. Anyway, recently I do receive a lot of wedding invitations. And recently I saw one, and I thought it was very interesting. This wedding invitation, the cover, it looks like this. "Welcome to Becca's wedding, featuring Jack." You see what's going on here? Yeah, it's not our wedding. It's not Becca and Jack's wedding. It's Becca's wedding. But somehow, the groom, Jack, is invited. Well, as a feature, okay? I thought it was very, and then the person who shared this, Laura, incredible work, Becca, okay? Anyway, it was 2023, Friday, August 25th. Looking at the invitation, it's funny because as you and I well know, wedding is about the couple, it's not about one individual from that couple, but the invitation says it is about me and whoever I'm getting married to is there too. Will be there, hopefully be there, okay? Today's Easter Sunday. We do celebrate Easter Sunday every year. And somehow, I think we do celebrate Easter Sunday kind of like that too. Easter Sunday is not just, it is actually about risen Jesus, who is a core part of our lives. The fact that he is risen is the truth that defines who we are and how we live our lives. Yet, as we celebrate Easter Sunday, we feel like, yeah, it's another Easter Sunday featuring Jesus. Feels like that. How do we actually celebrate Easter Sunday? Feels Easter Sunday kind of like that. How people in those days when Jesus appeared as a risen Jesus, how they were actually different. From the story we just read from Luke chapter 24, disciples, they felt lost. When they saw Jesus was crucified, they were like, what are we going to do? We've been following this guy for 3 years, last 3 years. Now what we have is just emptiness. He's gone. What are we going to do? There's deep feeling of loss, deep feeling of sadness, deep feeling of despair. And it's not just for their story. We ourselves actually sometimes experience that kind of loss, that kind of despair, that kind of disappointment in our lives. As a pastor, I do receive that kind of calls or people's requests, pray for them, kind of often. Years ago, it was Saturday morning. I was preparing for the Sunday. I was getting ready, and I was working on my thing on my desk, and then my phone started ringing. And I saw that it was a young man who's from the church, one of the churches in our 2 churches in Seoul. So I'm like, why is this guy calling me right now? So I answered it, hello, and then this guy goes, "Hey, Pastor Sonny," and then I heard noise. of wind blowing, cars passing, and I heard that, I kind of sensed that he was not well. He was saying, Pastor Sonny, I think I'm done. I think my life is over. Now, I'm gonna just end this, and that's it. And he was crying too. I'm like, where are you? Where are you actually calling me from right now? He said, I am standing in the edge of the bridge, one of the bridges in Seoul, and I'm about to jump off. And I just wanted to call you and tell you that I'm done. I'm like, no, don't do that, no. And I kept talking to him. No, don't do this. Let's have conversation. There's so much I want to actually talk about with you. So let's talk. Let's talk. Don't do it. I know you want to do this, but after we done with our conversation, then you can do this. So I try to save some time for the guy, but I felt obviously very nervous. I don't know what to do, and this guy's like I said, standing on the edge of the bridge. I had to do something. Though I was like holding him in my talk, so holding my phone like this, I came out of my office, and then I called my wife. Hey, honey. And then I explained the situation to her on the little note. And then I said, can you call police? Can we locate the guy? And can police send somebody to the bridge? And my wife was like, she got shocked, and she was like, she calling 911 or 119, 112, one of those. And then later, my wife was telling me, I was still having conversation with the guy, holding my phone. My wife came to me and she said, when police gets reports like this, they want to make sure that the reports are real, so they want to visit the person who makes report first and making sure that it is real. So my wife was telling me that two police officers gotta come to our house and see our faces and make sure it is really happening. So I'm like, I don't really care. Let them come in. So two police officers came to our apartment, talked to my wife, because I had to keep the guy on my phone conversation, and they knew that it was real. So they made a report to the police department in Seoul, and they located the guy and sent two police officers to get him. So after about 2 hours of phone conversation that I had with them, I was like talking, so what was it like in your childhood? What was really the heaviest thing that was pushing you in your life? And it went 2 hours, and I got the report. I actually heard a noise. So like, stop, sir! From the other side, like, stop! And this guy goes like, why are they here? Pastor said, did you actually report me to the police department? I'm like, yeah, stay there. So I heard that he's safely located in the police office, police department. I heard that, hung up. I purchased KTX tickets right away. I went up to Seoul, meet the guy. And I talked with this guy for another 3 hours. We had a meal together. But you may say, wow, that's an amazing story. But not many of us will go to edge of the bridges and thinking about I'm gonna end this. But so many of us actually face difficult situations in our lives. Problems that we feel like there's no way out. We feel like this issue I'm facing right now is gonna define who I am, my life, and that's it. No more. We feel like this is the end of it. We do feel like that very often in our lives. Last week, there's one lady from one of our 5 churches. She texted me in the morning. That happened last week, yes. It happened on Wednesday or Tuesday, somewhere there. She texted me, 카톡 me. Out of nowhere, she was telling me that her life is falling apart. So I'm going to share the text with you. looked like this. That's the Korean version that I got. That's the English version that I translate for you guys. Pastor Sunny, please pray for my family. It has been really difficult for us. It feels like God is not listening to our prayers. So I said, I feel your hardships over the text. When is a good time for me to call you? And then I called the lady. And then she texts me again. Tears keep streaming, coming down. I feel can't support my children any longer. We've come all the way to now, yet I feel we can't move any further. My heart just collapsed. And then she texts me next day. Sorry that I shocked you yesterday. It felt like my whole life collapsed. Today, a new day has come, and I am in Seoul with my daughter. It felt like Jesus' voice to me when you gave a call. It comforted my heart. Once I hung up with you, as I prayed for my daughter, tears kept coming down. I used to pray with my lips. Now I pray with inner agony. I believe that there is God's new plan and His will in this. Thank you, Pastor Sunny. Please keep my family in your prayer. So I said, don't look too far. Try to enjoy the new day. Grace, breath given to you daily. When you feel lost, let me know. I'll pray that you have a safe trip. And she goes, yes, Pastor Sunny. What really happened here? Again, she's one of those people, she was facing one of those moments in life, feels like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm lost. We feel that way too. Maybe sometimes when you face in your career, something is we're not moving any forward, any further. In your relationship with your family, you feel like you're lost. You feel like there's no future. There's only darkness. Sometimes something happened in your health. We feel like, you know what? It's not gonna get any better. You feel lost. Disciples felt lost, and Jesus showed up. And I really love the way how Jesus interacted with his disciples. You know what he actually said? How you doing? He said, Shalom. Basically saying, are you at peace? Are you okay? Are you doing well? Is your heart okay? Or is your heart at peace? Because he knew that disciples were lost. And Jesus comes to us in the same way too. We feel like reason Jesus celebrating Easter Sunday, wow, Easter Sunday is special. Why is it special? Because we get eggs. But we don't get eggs at CIC. We'll get barbecue grilled pork and fried rice and all the goodies. I know if you prefer eggs over that, there's some other choices. Okay, I'll stop there. But I shared this with you guys before. What you get celebrating Easter Sunday usually at church is boiled eggs. I know it has meaning, but I never liked boiled eggs. You know what kind of eggs I like? I like eggs like sunny side up. I know, I'm sunny, and my side is always up, but I feel like it's not up enough. So whenever I get eggs, I prefer sunny side up. But I never been able to order sunny side up coming to church on Easter Sunday when I get boiled eggs. I'm like, I prefer sunny side up. Can you actually cook it sunny side? It will never happen. Why? Why is Easter Sunday so special? Though you never get your eggs the style that you want. Because Easter Sunday, we remember our Jesus' reason, not for just religious reason, but our personal reason. His reason, and it comes to your life, asking the same question. Are you at peace? Are you okay? Are you really doing okay? Is your heart at peace? Isn't something bothering you right now? I want to ask you if you're okay. That's the reason Jesus we see, that we celebrate. How do you actually do that then? How does he do that? Speaking of having awesome meal together later, I was actually wondering, what is like, because I like going out and eating out too, like checking out good restaurants out there. And I know many of you like going out and eating good restaurants. I was actually wondering, what is the what restaurant is there? The oldest one ever, oldest restaurant in the world. Have you ever wondered? Like, got curious about it? So I Googled it, and I found it. There's one restaurant called Sabrino de Botín in Madrid. It started in 1725. So this year they're celebrating 300th anniversary. You know, CIC is celebrating 30th. So teeny tiny. By the way, we're gonna do this in October. We got some data. Thank you, Wendy. Good job. You did a good job on your secret agent work. Thank you so much. We've been collecting data, and we're gonna celebrate this 30th properly in October. And so just keep that in your mind. But coming back to world's oldest restaurant, 300th anniversary they're celebrating this year. Okay, it looked like this. It looked old, right? And BBC made a little, I'll say, like show on it. It goes, how has the oldest restaurant in the world managed to stay open for 300 years? People have been eating out in restaurants and bars for hundreds of years, and some of those early establishments are still open today. According to Guinness World Records, Botín, in the heart of the Spain capital, Madrid, is the world's oldest restaurant. Botín opened in 1725, which makes a restaurant older than, listen, the United States, Napoleonic Wars, and James Watt's steam engine. It's been run by Antonio Gonzalez Gomez family since 1922, and he believes the secret to success is creating a warm, welcoming, magical atmosphere. People go to restaurants to be with other people and communicate. So a restaurant is not just a place delivering food and drink. It's a place where people collect moments. That's what we're gonna do today, by the way. It's not just about food, we're gonna collect moments, okay? But why has Antonio's restaurant survived when so many others struggle and closed within his first 12 months of opening? Okay, so I'm not gonna show the whole thing, but that's what BBC actually said on this restaurant that's 300 years old. You probably wonder, wow, what kind of food they probably serve? I mean, what kind of atmosphere they have? You probably have this desire to be there and experience their food and taste their food, right? In fact, I was there. Can you show the video, please, Steve? 스페인의 마지막 밤입니다. 오늘은 마지막 저녁으로 마드리드에서 가장 오래된, 세계에서 가장 오래된 식당에 왔어요. 보틴이라는 식당인데 1727년에 시작됐습니다. 그래서 기네스북에 오른 가장 오래된 식당에 왔어요. 맛있게 먹고 잘 자고 네, 한국으로 출발합니다. 부행갑니다. I was there. I'm gonna show you some photos. Show a photo, please. Next one. This is the photo that I took. The name of the restaurant there. You know, it started opened 1725, but somehow I 1727. Doesn't really matter. Okay, next picture. That's what we got, and that's us. Us means it wasn't just me. You know who else was there? Do you recognize the guy who was with me? His name is Chani. He's volunteering at production booth right now. Chani! It was 10 years ago. He was in high school. I was in my mid-30. We went on this pilgrimage called Camino de Santiago. Have you ever heard of it? Okay. It was one of the things on my bucket list. If you walk fully, you walked 800 plus kilometers for about 40-50 days. I couldn't do that. So what I just did, I just walked the last portion of it. So we walked about 120-30 kilometers of it. Took us about 7 days. And after the whole journey, we flew to Madrid, and I heard about the restaurant. We went to the place, and we ate there together. You know, now it was 10 years ago. I'm in my mid-40s. I probably in my whole life, I probably had like 45,000 meals total. Have you ever counted how many meals you had in your life? I did that like earlier today. Like, yeah, 365 days, you know, multiply 3, you know, so like 1,000. So 45 years, 45,000 meals I had my whole life. But there are only few meals that I still remember clearly. That meal I had, I clearly remember. 10 years ago, I still clearly remember the atmosphere of the restaurant. I still clearly remember how I ordered. I still clearly remember the fragrance. I still clearly remember the taste of the food. I still clearly remember what kind of feeling that I had when I was sitting there. And I'm pretty sure Chani, he probably still clearly remember, you know, that meal. You do clearly remember the meal, right, Chani? Yes. How many meals have you ever had in your life? Okay, he won't answer that. You know why? How it was actually possible for me to remember that meal clearly? We were exhausted from that trip. We walked 120, 30 kilometers over a whole week. And they were sitting there tired, exhausted. But the food, that felt so real. And the companionship that we're together, Chani and I, it felt so real. I'm like, wow, this is something. It is gonna. I even back then I knew it's the meal that I will remember the rest of my life. Christianity is based on that. This whole Christianity movement is based on that memory. Jesus comes to his disciples when they felt lost. When they felt lost, like most lost in their lives, he comes to them. Hey, are you okay? You know what he actually did with his disciples? He ate with them. Do you have anything to eat? Let's eat. Because Jesus wanted to be every moment, every part of their disciples' life. I am real. Feel me, touch me. I'm real. I'm here. I'm with you. And I'll be with you every moment of your life. I want you to remember this. And it changes everything. Celebrating Easter Sunday, what do we do? We want to remember. We want to receive the memory from those people who experienced 2,000 years ago. It passed on and on and on, and then it's here. And we still remember our Jesus is risen, and he's real, and he's with us, and he's been always with us every moment of our lives, and he will be with us every moment of our lives, even in the moments when we feel lost. Jesus saying, "You doing okay? I'm here with you. I'm real." Even in the moment of the deepest despair you're facing in your life. I was actually imagining, just thinking about how to explain, how to describe faith to you guys. I was like imagining this scene. Let's say you are a student at school, okay? You're sitting in the classroom. Let's say you're a student at TCIS, okay? You're sitting in the classroom, you're a student, okay? Just sitting there. But somehow you hear the announcement coming out saying, Mr. Moi Moi is delivering this message to you students saying, you know what? First 5 students come to head of school's office. I'll give you $1 million for each student. How would you react to that? How would you respond to that? Some of you may respond like, whatever, Mr. Moi Moi. And some of you may say, what did I just hear? I probably heard something fantasy, or it was like illusion. Some of you didn't even believe that you heard that. Some of you may say, I don't think Mr. Moi Moi is capable of doing this. Some of you may go, I don't know, maybe he's just joking. Is it April Fool's? So what would you do? You probably just sit there, do nothing. But let's say, just imagine that you believe that. Somehow you believe that, wow, he is really going to give me that $1 million. You believe that. What would you do once you believe it? You wouldn't just sit there. You'll probably get up and run. When you believe something amazing, something way bigger than who you are, how would you react? How would you respond? You go like, oh, okay, Jesus' reason, fine. Oh, Jesus' reason, yeah, that's one of the, I guess, theological, theories out there. You may say like, oh, that's what Christians say. It won't change your life at all. It won't do anything. But just imagine. Just imagine. What if it's real? What if Jesus is reason and it is real? And His reason not just for religious purpose, His reason for you and me. That it's going to change your life, my life, forever. Wrapping up, I'd like to share a story with you. I recently read this article, and I thought it was very relevant to what we're sharing today. So I'm just going to read this article for you guys. It goes like this. I think it is written around the Christmas season, but I think it can be applied in Easter season too. It goes like this. Maybe it is the holidays. Maybe it is Alex Van Halen's words about Eddie. Either way, I feel sentimental and miss my brother this year. One of the last things we did together was seeing Van Halen's show in Tennessee. He died shortly after, almost 20 years ago. He was 20. He was perpetually tormented. Mental health disorders and addiction proved to be the end of him. He died of an overdose in his truck. His heart stopped. To this day, it is hard to eat Italian food. He had just gone through the drive-thru at Fazoli's, and the smell of death and lasagna had saturated the truck by the time I got there. I do not have many memories of my brother. The Van Halen concert is my most vivid memory. We were separated by long enough years to always miss each other. As I learned to drive, he played Little League. As I finished high school, he was in middle school. As I was finished grad school, he was learning to weld. I chased girls, drank heavily, and drove 67 Mustang. He was a late bloomer, did drugs, and rode a motorcycle. It is hard to fathom how two people from the same parents who live in the same home and grow up in the same town can end up so tragically different. I went away to college and never looked back, bouncing around 3 or 4 different cities before settling in Texas. He lived in my parents' double wide, joined the motorcycle gang, and never went more than 100 miles from home. If there ever was a case for free will, my brother and I are it. I came to know Jesus in a real and saving way around the age of 25. I never got to share the gospel with my brother, only because while he was alive, I didn't know or believe the gospel. My grandmother swears he was saved. I'm not sure if that's because she witnessed the Lord move in his life or because she was heartbroken. Time will tell, I guess, for both of us. I think I avoid thinking about my brother because when I do, there's a heavy sadness. I was too narcissistic and self-involved to notice my little brother. He was too angry and distressed to care. I regret my lack of love for him, my lack of compassion and protection. 20 years later, I'm still sad. I miss him. Let me encourage you this holiday season. Seize every opportunity to tell the people in your life that you love them. No matter how different they are or how far they are from you, my brother was tormented, crushed under weight of life, trapped in his own mental prison, and I didn't see it. Or maybe I ignored it or just was busy doing something else. If I had a key, it would not have mattered. I wasn't around to use it. This Christmas season, I'll say this Easter season, ask yourself, who do I need to reconcile with? Who needs to hear my voice? Who in my life could use a hopeful words, a friendly smile, a hand to hold? As men, we love to take this initiative and lead out, rightly so. God wants us to take the lead. Maybe it is time we take the lead in reconciliation, take the lead in forgiving others, take the first step towards a wayward child, toward an ex-spouse, toward a former business partner. Maybe it's time you called your brother, the one you have not seen years. Let's take the lead in loving others. I'm often reminded that Jesus rarely shows up in the blaze of glory. Jesus usually shows up in a borrowed generator, a spare blanket, and an open door. And for you all who have lost someone who you know you'll see in heaven, a friend shared an incredible post with me. Josh and Noam collect images of walk-off home run hitters rounding the third base. So I prepared some images. Walk-off home run hitters rounding the third base. You see? This person collects the photos of those walk-off home run hitters coming to the home base, okay? I prepare. Can you show us? Okay, keep that. Hang it. He said, I do this because this is how I view us entering heaven. Look at the faces of his teammates waiting to welcome him home. Writes Noam, look at their excitement. They can't wait to celebrate with them. Look at the fans, arms raised, big smiles. Friends, I can't wait to round the third base. Jimmy will be there. I think it's his brother. So will Mr. Don and my Aunt Rachel and my mom, all waiting to celebrate with me. Who knows? Oh, maybe, okay, Jimmy is not his brother. Okay, maybe my brother will be there too. This may be your first holiday season without someone you love who is now waiting for you in heaven. I can say this is your first Easter season without someone you love who is now waiting for you in heaven. Maybe it's another holiday with a big hole in your heart and an empty seat at your table. The pain and sadness is real, I know. If you find yourself in a place where it gets unbearable, maybe close your eyes and envision yourself rounding third. Perhaps we'll find a little more joy this year. Rounding third and heading home. That's possible. How? Because Jesus is risen. Death is defeated. That's how we're still waiting with joy in the deepest our sadness. You know what? Rounding the third, coming home moment will come. And there is a hope in risen Jesus. Would you please join me in prayer? As we pray, I want you to have this moment of accountability. Your vulnerability with Jesus. Reason Jesus is not just a religious Jesus who needs to be worshipped in a glorious moment. Yeah, he is actually, but he is risen so that he can be with us. Not just with us in a good, happy moments, but deepest, broken, despaired, sad moments of fear and uncertainty. And Jesus comes to your heart. Hey, are you doing okay? Ask that question. And he goes, I want to eat with you. I want to stay with you every part of your life. I want to be real to you. That's why I am here with you. That's why reason Jesus is hope to you and me. As we pray, I like to have a little time of reflection, time of prayer, saying, Jesus, I am broken. I'm scared, yet I am so glad that you're risen and with me. And please be with me, walk with me, taking this next step in my life. Be my Savior. Let's pray.